वेलकम बैक एंड वेलकम टू दो दिल। इसे बड़े प्यार और नाज के साथ पेश करती हैं मिस आराधना। आराधना जी ब्रिंग्स इन दो दिलों की प्यार भरी कहानी। तो फिर इसे ध्यान में रखते हुए लेट्स मीट हर गेस्ट्स फॉर टुडे। दे आर मिस्टर राम मौली and his beautiful wife, who is a scientist, Dr. Nandini Mouli.
Oftentimes, we see power couples fall apart because they cannot balance their personal and professional lives. But that pattern does not apply to our couple today. They have not only had achievements and accomplishments in their respective fields, but have also earned a name as a giving and compassionate husband-wife team. Their story is one that can inspire many, myself included. So with that, I'd like to welcome Nandini and Ram Maula. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Aradhna.
So let's talk about, your marriage. You guys had the typical Indian story where you got married in India. You both are from South India, Chennai, I believe.
Yeah.
And then you moved to America. What was that transition like?
Aradhna, thank you so much for having us here. We're truly honored to be here, sharing the stage
Honor
with you.
Honor is mine.
Our marriage happened in 1982, and we were in Chennai. I was in Chennai, and he had been here earlier and was coming back home for a vacation, a very short one indeed. And the transition after wedding was pretty swift, I would say, because we had our plans ahead of us. I wanted to study and had my I-20 ahead of time. At the same time, he came in between some opportunities. And so as soon as I came here, we both started going to school, going to work, and so on. So the transition was kind of exciting, interesting, at the same time full of activities, I should say. But the community where we came in to first, in Florida, was very welcoming, was very friendly, and we felt we right away belonged to the community and started our married life beautifully.
Wow. Weather also was good.
Weather was that's always very
yes,
helpful.
Yes.
You need nice weather for a romantic mood.
Absolutely.
But was there any way, you said that you went back to what your studies, your job, what were you doing?
I was actually, I completed my graduate program, then I was working here when we got married.
Okay.
So, but she came in and she started wanting to do the PhD.
Did you guys see each other ever initially, or was it so much studying, so much work that you barely even got to see each other?
No, we always had the work-life balance. When I say work, that included the student time too.
Right.
So it worked out fine because we always set the priorities, what we have to do. The reason we came here was, to have a higher education,
right,
and good career and contributing to the community.
Right.
So that was well set from the beginning itself. So she was in her PhD program, I was working. Then when she finished her PhD, we moved to Delaware and Wilmington, Delaware, and because she got a very good opportunity in DuPont, and I moved also along with her. So things like that, we balanced it, and it is not just study everything.
Right.
Because the family life, we were just got married. I even remember, first year of the marriage, we went to Las Vegas and enjoyed it.
Oh my goodness!
Absolutely.
Wow, Las Vegas. How was Las Vegas back then? Same as now, or
same as now?
Same
crazy
as now?
and everything.
Crazy now?
Yes.
Do you think, had you not moved to the States, had you stayed back in India, do you think life would have been different? And I'm not just talking in terms of culture or tradition. I'm talking about in terms of, your relationship between each other.
Yes. I would say that our dynamics, our chemistry, our relationship, Aradhna, would have been very much the same, mainly because of our personalities, I think. There was fortunately quite a lot of compatibility from the very beginning. However, I do think that there are things which are different about life here in US, life in Chennai. For example, we are accustomed to giving more priorities to professional life and keep the personal life also. So they are equal to us in United States. And back home, if I had stayed there with Ram, I would say probably we would have had to readjust the priorities little bit here and there depending on the extended relatives or friends or extraneous situations and so on. So that's one difference. Second one I would say is because we are here by ourselves, we are so much dependent on each other, right? So we are able to grow closer, more intimate, more appreciative, more grateful, and I think that aspect in our life especially was so much of a catalyst for getting us together much more close from the very beginning, I would say. I would even go back to a particular time in our life when I actually, back in 2009, went through a very major life-changing accident. And I had to be home for a year or so, bedridden and whatnot, but because of Ram, because of his compatibility, he was there for me 24/7, 365 type of caring, supportive. And so I could come out of this situation quickly. So back home, if I had gone through the same accident back home, I don't know if we would have been able to appreciate each other that much because of other things are going around you.
You have other people, there's more support out there.
Exactly.
But do those dynamics, do they change when you have children in the picture? Or is it, I mean, I know you have more family support that way if you have children in the picture, but does that change, especially when they're younger, at the younger age?
Yeah, I would say still having the understanding and respect for each other's needs, professionally and personally. The dynamics didn't change much, I would say, when it comes to the children, because you're always there to see who is available to take care of the children's needs also. Who is actually have to stay back or go to work, go to travel, whatnot. So there was always some sort of a, nice conversation, nice give and take, and things worked out okay.
I can see that. You guys are
we balanced it. For example, when we moved to Wilmington, at that time I took a consulting job, and so because of that I was traveling a lot. So Nandini managed the children. They were young, taking them to extracurricular activity as well as education. She took care of it. Then when we moved to Maryland, Baltimore, at the time, she was commuting to back, each way 50 miles. So I had more spare time. So I got involved more with the children's activity, sports or school or anything.
And see, that's something that I don't really see nowadays, especially with the younger generation, with newlyweds. A lot of them say, okay, there should be equal rights. I mean, from one perspective, yes, I can see why should the woman be a homemaker, why should the male be allowed to go, but if you don't see it that way, if you see your spouse as a person who is there to support you, that is, that would change everybody's perspective in so many different ways. But you guys balanced each other out in terms of raising your family, and that's very important. You could have said that, no, to hell with it, I want to go to work. My wife is going to stay at home and she's going to take care of the kids, take care of everything at home. And that's beautiful that you guys were supportive of each other.
Absolutely.
But would you say that's your formula to a happy, successful marriage then?
There's not a single formula. I know. If I say that, I'm not saying the right thing. I know what worked for us. I can tell you that is one of the things. First thing, is that you should have common goals, common, ideas, where we want to go. And the second one, you have to always listen to each other and give a, good hearing, understand their views. I'm not saying, you are always going to be thinking, the same way. There'll be argument for everything, there are two sides. So we have to balance it out. You have to listen to the others. But at the end, after having a healthy conversation, I won't even say discussion, conversation, you come to a common ground, which is good for the family, good both for, husband, wife, and the children. For example, we used to have, you are young, you would have gone through it with your parents, where to put the children for college.
Yeah.
What is the direction? And you have different angles, husband, wife, and the children. And so
Who do you listen to? Pull your hair apart.
and where to go to college? Is it going to be local or is it going to be outside?
Because tuition is not that cheap, now,
Exactly.
especially nowadays.
Yes.
So those are the type of things,
Right.
But listening, having empathy to the other's point of view, that's very important. That worked for us.
And I can see that. I mean, you guys are very kind, gentle people, which brings me to my next question. You have a very beautiful story. You both are Sai Baba devotees, and you are highly, highly involved within the community in terms of temples and all that. Can you speak a little more about that? It's a very beautiful story, actually, for all our viewers out there.
Thank you.
But can you tell us the story? Actually?
Yes, Aradhna, that's a very, very important topic to my heart. Talking about Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba is very much important for us together. I was introduced to his philosophy when I was very young, about 10 years old and so on. And I was drawn to his teachings, his community service aspect, his kirtans, bhajans and whatnot. And then after we got married, we both started going to the Sai Center in Boston, and we were involved heavily there. And then when we came to Wilmington, Delaware, we actually held the Sai Center in our own home and ran Bal Vikas classes. And our children were very young then, you know. They were actually on my lap and listening to Baba's story.
So are they also Sai followers?
Yes, absolutely, yes. They went through the Bal Vikas education in Wilmington and then came here to Baltimore and Bethesda Sai Center. We are part of that community also. We go there every Sunday. And Baba has taught us to be good person, good human being, caring for others, and then think about the purpose of your life, which is to get out of all these mundane worldly things and become a better soul altogether, realizing your own potential to become a better. So we are hoping that our activities, whatever we have done, would be some sort of examples for our children to follow. So far, they seem to be very tuned to the community service activities.
And do you feel that, I mean, it seems like from the description of the beliefs and all that, do you think that has strengthened your marriage?
Certainly, absolutely. Yes.
You were not initially, so you helped him convert into that.
And also, in the Sai activity, it is common. It is interfaith, and the teachings. When I looked at it and studied more, it really attracted me. And it has a combination of devotion, as she was talking about, bhajan, service, and satsang, or a study circle. So you have all things that are needed for your upliftment. It is covered within that region.
And that's not the only thing that you guys do. With whenever I've gotten the chance to speak with you, you have mentioned that you go out every weekend. Every weekend, this couple goes out to help the homeless in DC. And I think that's truly amazing, the compassion that they show. Can you talk a little more about that? What this program?
Sure. Helping others from the early days, even our childhood, it was very important for us. Our families, incorporated that in our mind. So when we came to, for example, in Boston or later on to Wilmington, Delaware, we were involved in our Indian community activities, especially helping building the Hindu temple, the Lakshmi temple in Boston, similarly Lakshmi temple in Wilmington, Delaware. So we were actively involved in that. But it is not just Indian activities. Later on, for example, when we moved to Baltimore, I was involved in Red Cross, the blood donation. I was a board member there. Similarly, United Way ambassador, and also Baltimore County Leadership Council, helping the inner cities for both education and business related activity. And Nandini was always involved in what I call cultural and music activity. She used to host many of the Carnatic music concerts here and helped the incoming artists, and also we used to host them in our home. And the one major thing that Nandini was involved is the Bhutanese refugees who were migrated to this country, but it is new to them. So she helped them, both with clothing, satsang, and food and everything. So these are things, and we are also involved. For example, nationally, it's called Cleveland Aradhna. It's like a North American Carnatic music thing. So we were actively involved, and we used to design the yearly competition there, and we have been recognized, and that gave us a pressure, giving up to the community, both within the Indian community and also to our community where we live. It is very important to us.
Well, I think this is all very fantastic. I wish we could so continue our conversation. Unfortunately, we are running out of time. This couple is absolutely, absolutely lovely. I've had a great time speaking to both of you, so thank you for being here today. If you would like to visit or guest on Do Dil, please do contact us at thisisgtv@gmail.com. This is Aradhna, your hostess, for My Dil, Your Dil, Do Dil.